Okay. That was my abridged version of this week's song, and I understand that today was Inauguration Day for our 45th president, Donald J. Trump, which, saying that out loud kind of makes me a little... I'm not really in denial, but it's kind of hard to believe it, and not in a good way. I mean, I have a hard time believing that a country that has taken pride itself for being very diverse, very open-minded, very accepting, this society has chosen a man who refuses to see everyone as equal. I mean, the stuff he has said in his campaign, calling out, Mexican immigrants as murderers and rapists, as I've seen on the news, in the morning news on NBC, and the relentless barrage of hateful speech against Muslims in general, all the other stuff he's been saying about building a wall, that is not America. America does not divide. America does not split people apart because of race. America mixes it all together and creates a very open-minded, very beautiful concoction of a bunch of cultures, ethnicities, etc. And in Trump's speech today, it did seem like he was going to turn over a new leaf. It did seem like he was starting to be a little more reasonable about it. But then he started saying that racism needs to end, which, well, I know he says that all the stupid things he says he's never said before. But okay, so you're calling for equality when you've done nothing but use divisive speech in your campaign. And it's just... All I can say is that in addition to being racist, he has said a bunch of hurtful things about women, including the tape where he infamously said you can grab a woman by the you-know-what, and since he's a star, he can get that. No. I don't care who you are. Giving women that kind of treatment is sexual harassment, and no, that cannot be allowed. I don't care if you're some random dude off the street or someone who is now our president. You cannot get away with that kind of behavior. And so, yeah, and mocking the disabled reporter, which I can't believe people have been debating it. It's so clear that he's mocking this man for very little reason. And I saw someone say, oh, well, the reporter he was mocking was a jerk. So I don't care what the reporter is like. If he is disabled and mocking the way he moves, that is offensive and that is wrong. And a few of my friends, I'm not going to name names because I'm not that kind of person. The people that support Trump and the people that are protesting, for the people who support him, I think the best way to describe them is horribly misguided, And I understand that there might be people watching this that may hear what I say and they might get rightfully angry at me for, well, I shouldn't say rightfully, understandably angry at me for saying the stuff I just said. And all I'm going to say is that if you feel so compelled to bash me for what I'm saying, say what you want. Don't expect me to respond. I don't think getting into an argument over this is going to be worth it for either side. And for the people who are protesting against Trump, All I can say is that keep it clean. The best part about being in America is you are allowed to speak your mind, and you're allowed to, go up against whatever you think is unfair or unjust. But if you're going to do a protest and it suddenly becomes violent, people won't sympathize with your plight. People will find fear and be scared of you instead of rooting for you, which is ironically what you're wanting is people to support you. But, burning up cars, destroying bus stops like they have today, that's not going to get anything done. That's going to make the situation worse. That's going to add more chaos and confusion. So my final thoughts on this inauguration, I think it's a horrible mistake. I've stated all the reasons why I think it's a terrible mistake to begin with to have this man inaugurated. But I don't think America will be ruined because of this. I think at the very worst, all that's going to happen is that there may be a few huge hits to the gut for America, but I think we will get up off the floor and keep going. I really wish that Hillary had won or someone else in the Republican Party had won this election, but Trump's our president, and however we deal with that is very important. Just make sure you're not doing it out of hate, but out of reason and compassion for your fellow American. And whatever you think you need to do to stand up against Trump, go ahead. Don't go too far and do not be violent about it. That is all I ask.